It's a very unusual knife. I've never seen one like it. Aren't you asking us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm just saying a coincidence is possible.
And I say it's not possible.
Where did that come
What the?
It's the same knife.
You're due.
Hey, what's going on, Flicks Talkers? Welcome back to another movie reaction, this time for 1957's 12 Angry Men. Now, I'm actually really excited to check this one out, as a lot of people in my recent chats have said to check this one out, and I'm very pleased to let you guys know that I have no clue what this movie's even about. Now, just looking up the poster, which I'll put up right here, it looks like a room full of 12 angry men. I mean, I don't know what they're angry about, but they collectively came together and they're angry about something. So, best way I can go into these movies is not knowing anything about them and react to them for the first time on this channel. All right, so enough talking, let's get to watching. But before we do, if you guys do like my content and you want to support the channel, make sure you guys are hitting that big thumbs up to like the video, and make sure to hit that subscribe, as I do movie reactions, show reactions, live streams, and so much more. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's get into 1957's 12 Angry Men.
You've listened to a long and complex case, murder in the first degree. It's now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead, another man's life is at stake. If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty. Now, if, however, there's no reasonable doubt, then you must, in good conscience, find the accused guilty. However you decide, your verdict must be unanimous. The death sentence is mandatory in this case.
Wow.
You're faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, gentlemen.
Even the judge seems bored. Maybe not bored, but that this has been drawn out maybe so long that he's just kind of over it. Oh, just a kid, man. I wonder what he supposedly did. I like the fact that we're getting to our plot right away. At least I believe this is what it could be about. Maybe 12 men, which are, you know, a jury of his peers coming together to determine the fate of this young man, possibly.
Keep his gun.
Oh, thanks.
I love how littering was so common back then.
What gets me is where those lawyers talk and talk and talk, even when it's an open and shut case like this one. I mean, did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
If you ask me, I'd slap those tough kids down before they start any trouble. Now, let's get started, huh?
Good idea.
So you got one of the hottest days on record. You got a room full of men. Testosterone's flying. Some of them are coughing. A lot of them are bored. Can't wait to see what comes.
What, do you have a cold?
And how these hot weather colds can kill you. I can hardly touch my nose, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can all get out of here pretty quick, huh? I don't know about the rest of you, but I happen to have tickets to that ball game tonight. You a Yankee fan? No. Baltimore. Baltimore? It's like being hit in the head with a crowbar once a day. Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Okay, I think that, of course, you know that we have a first-degree murder charge here, and if we vote the accused guilty, we've got to send him to the chair. Just remember that this has to be 12-0 either way. All those voting guilty, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11. All those voting not guilty? 1. Right.
Wow, the way they look at him in disgust.
Boy, oh boy, there's always one.
You really think he's innocent?
I don't know.
I mean, you sat in court with the rest of us. You heard what we did. The kid's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
He's 18 years old.
Well, that's old enough. He stabbed his own father 4 inches into the chest.
Well, there were 11 votes for guilty. It's not easy to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first. We're talking about somebody's life here. We can't decide it in 5 minutes, supposing we're wrong.
Supposing we're wrong.
This kid's been kicked around all of his life. You know, born in a slum, mother dead since he was 9. He lived for a year and a half in an orphanage when his father was serving a jail term for forgery.
We don't owe him a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? What do you think that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Listen, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that. I mean, they're born liars.
Only an ignorant man can believe that.
Now, listen.
Do you think you were born with a monopoly on the truth?
That's interesting. The non-guilty man is kind of saying that this kid's life is a product of his environment.
Suppose we go once around the table.
Well, it's hard to put into words. Well, I just think he's guilty. I mean, somebody saw him do it.
Okay,
He's a bad juror.
I have no personal feelings about this. I just want to talk about facts. The old man lived downstairs under the room where the killing took place. At 10 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises. Said it sounded like a fight. And he heard the kid yell out, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body hit the floor. Ran to the door, opened it up, saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house.
He claimed he was at the movies during the time of the killing, and yet 1 hour later, he couldn't remember the names of the films he saw or who played in them.
Here's a woman who's lying in bed. She can't sleep. She looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father. His window was right opposite hers across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
Through the windows of a passing L train.
This L train had no passengers on it. And they proved in court that at night you can look through the windows of an L train when the lights are out and see what's happening on the other side.
You don't believe the boy's story. How come you believe the woman's? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
I was looking for a motive. That's very important because if you don't have a motive, where's your case, right?
You heard the father hit the boy twice. Finally, they saw the boy run angrily out of the house. What does that prove?
Part of the
Well, you
picture.
said it provided a motive. And the prosecuting attorney said the same thing. I don't think that was a very strong motive. I can't see 2 slaps in the face provoking him into committing murder.
It may have been too many. Everyone has a breaking point.
When I was a kid, I used to call my father Sir. Sir. You ever hear a kid call his father that anymore? 22 years old. He said, "I'm going to make a man out of you if I have to break you in 2 trying." At 16, we had a fight. Hit me in the jaw. He's a big kid. Haven't seen him for 2 years.
Definitely different styles of parenting for sure.
He was born in a slum. Slums are breeding grounds for criminals. I know it, and so do you. It's no secret children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
The kids who crawl out of these places are real trash. I don't want any part of them, I'm telling you.
Listen, I've lived in a slum all my life.
Wait a minute.
Please, I've played.
Come on now, there's nothing personal
Oh,
about
now, there
this.
was something
Oh,
personal.
come on, fella. He didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
Oh, stop being a kid, will you?
Listen, just because I'm trying to keep this thing organized, I mean, here, you take it. You take it.
What are you getting so hot about? Calm down, will you?
Don't tell me to calm down. Here, you want to take the chair? Just
Fella, the whole thing's unimportant. Come on.
unimportant. Well, here, you try.
No, nobody wants to change. You're doing a beautiful job.
I don't think I've ever seen someone wear a tie with a polo.
I began to get the feeling that the defense counsel wasn't conducting a thorough enough cross-examination. I mean, he let too many things go by, little things. There was one alleged eyewitness to this killing. Someone else claims he heard the killing, saw the boy run out afterwards. Could they be wrong?
What are you trying to say? Those people sat on the stand under oath.
They're only people. People make mistakes. Could they be wrong?
Things are starting to get heated now.
What about it? The knife this fine, upright boy admitted buying the night of the killing.
The knife and the way it was bought is pretty strong evidence, don't you think?
I do.
The boy admitted going out of the house at 8 o'clock on the night of the murder after being hit several times by his father. 2, he went directly to a neighborhood junk shop where he bought one of those
switch knives.
switchblade knives. It had a very unusual carved handle and blade. The storekeeper who sold it to him said it was the only one of its kind he had ever had in stock. They identified the death weapon in court as that very same knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that this knife really fell through a hole in the boy's pocket? Someone picked it up off the street, went to the boy's house, and stabbed his father with it?
No, I'm just saying it's possible the boy lost his knife and that somebody else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's just possible.
It's a very unusual knife. I've never seen one like it. Aren't you asking us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm just saying a coincidence is possible.
And I say it's not possible.
Where did that come
What the?
It's the same knife.
You're doing.
I bought that in a little pawn shop just 2 blocks from the boy's house. It cost $6.
You pulled a real bright trick. Now, supposing you tell me what it proves. Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what? Well, what does it mean?
That it's not so unique of a knife.
The odds are 1,000,000 to 1.
It's possible.
But not very probable.
Whoa. For a second, I was on the fence too, and like, it seems like this kid's guilty for sure until I saw that knife.
I have a proposition to make to all of you. I want to call for another vote. Vote by secret written ballot. I'll abstain. There are 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict to the judge right now. Well, that's it. If you want to try it, I'm ready.
Wow. I think this new bit of evidence a little bit that he's brought to the table with that knife that he was able to obtain so easily is definitely going to sway some people's decisions. Also, this one guy's name, I don't know if they're talking about names in this film at all. They're just addressing them by numbers. But this guy kept referring to people that come from the slums. There are a couple of guys that said that the people that come from the slums are trash. They're born to do this, become liars and thieves and killers and stuff like that. And a couple of guys took offense to that for sure. I would too.
Not guilty.
Brother, you really are something. You sit here, vote guilty like the rest of us, then some golden-voiced preacher starts tearing your poor heart out about some underprivileged kid. What made you change your vote?
He didn't change his vote. I did.
This gentleman has been standing alone against us. Well, it's not easy to stand alone against the ridicule of others, so he gambled for support, and I gave it to him. I respect his motives.
Hey, what are you getting out of this, kicks? Or did somebody bump you on the head one time and you haven't gotten over it?
Maybe.
This kid is guilty, pal.
Stupid question, but are those paper towels or is that like thicker cloth? I don't, never seen that before in my life. Do you just leave it on the roll like that, or? I'm so confused to what that is.
Supposing you were the one that was on trial.
Supposing you talk us all out of this and kid really did knife his father, huh?
What a predicament that most of us will never have to encounter in our life, but some might. And you think about, what if it was you?
Well, I was wondering how clearly the old man could have heard the boy's voice through the ceiling.
And don't forget the lady across the street. She looked right in the open window and saw the boy stab his father.
There were 6 cars on the train. She saw the killing through the last 2 cars.
Has anybody here any idea how long it would take an elf?
So disrespectful.
This isn't a game.
The nerve.
All right, listen,
The absolute nerve.
All right.
I lived in a second-floor apartment near the airline once. When the window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can hardly hear yourself think. The woman across the street swore positively she looked out of the window and saw the killing through the last 2 cars of a passing elevated train, right? We've agreed that it takes 10 seconds for a train to pass a given point. Since the woman saw the killing through the last 2 cars, we can assume that the body hit the floor just as the train went by.
Yep, I get what he's getting at.
Therefore, the train had been roaring by the old man's window a full 10 seconds before the body hit the floor.
He couldn't hear the argument.
The old man, according to his own testimony, I'm going to kill you, body hitting the floor a split second later. It's not possible he could have heard it.
Why should he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You keep coming in with these bright sayings. Why don't you send them into a paper? They pay $3 a piece.
Guy talks like that to an old man really ought to get stepped on, you know? You ought to have more respect, mister.
Yep.
If you say stuff like that to him again, I'm gonna lay you out.
Oh.
Why do you think the old man might lie?
He was a very old man in a torn jacket. He walked very slowly. He was dragging his left leg and trying to hide it because he was ashamed. I think I know this man better than anyone here. Nobody knows him. Nobody seeks his advice after 75 years. A man like this needs to be quoted, to be listened to. He wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he made himself believe he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Supposing he really did hear it. This phrase, how many times have all of us used it? Probably thousands. I could kill you for that, darling.
Don't tell me you didn't mean it. Anybody says a thing like that the way he said it, they mean it.
Well, gee, now, I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Do you really think the boy'd shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood could hear him?
He's a common, ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
I got him.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
You what?
You heard me.
The boy knew the knife could be identified as the one he had just bought. He had to get it before the police did.
Why did he leave it there in the first place?
And for 3 hours.
He would have had to be calm enough to see to it that there were no fingerprints left on the knife.
Look, you voted guilty. What side are you on?
I don't believe I have to be loyal to one side or the other. I'm simply asking questions.
Did or didn't the old man see the kid running out of the house at 12:10?
He says he did.
Says he did. Boy, how do you like that?
Now, look, witnesses can make mistakes.
Sure, when you want them to, they do, or when he wants them to, they do. You know what I mean?
Yelling down.
You people are talking only about the little details. You're forgetting the important stuff.
Pardon? I vote not guilty.
Oh.
What? Hey, what is this? Love your underprivileged brother week or something?
I don't have to defend my decision to you. There is a reasonable doubt in my mind.
What reasonable doubt? That's nothing but words. The kid you just decided isn't guilty was seen ramming this into his father.
That's not the knife, don't you remember?
Oh, brilliant.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference? He got on, did he? I mean, he got there, didn't he?
No, well, wait a
Well,
second.
he said he ran, at least I think he did.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see a diagram of the apartment. What I like to find out if an old man who drags 1 foot when he walks, because he had a stroke last year, can get from his bedroom to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
He said 20 seconds. What are you trying to distort?
He said 15.
All right, here's the apartment where the killing took place. The old man's apartment was directly beneath and exactly the same. Here's the hall, here the stairs. Now, the old man was in this bedroom right here. He says he crossed to the door and walked down the hall, opened the front door just in time to see the boy running down the stairs. It's 12 feet from the bed to the door. The hall is 43 feet. He would have had to walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet down, and open the front door, all in 15 seconds. You think he could have done it?
Sure he could have done it. He can walk only very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair.
You make it sound like a long walk.
For an old man who had a stroke, it is a long walk.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it, see how long it took.
Come on, speed it up. He walked twice as fast as that.
Lock, door, stop.
Right.
What's the time?
41 seconds.
Here's what I think happened.
That was 41 seconds?
You all come in here with your hearts bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice. You listen to some fairy tales. You all know he's guilty. He's got to burn. You're letting him slip through our fingers.
Slip through our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I would.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a sadist.
He has that resentment for his own son. Like he said, the word "I kill you," we say it all the time.
I beg pardon.
I beg pardon. What are you so polite about?
For the same reason you're not.
I like this guy.
Democracy, that we are notified by mail to come down to this place to decide on the guilt or innocence of a man we have nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. One of the reasons why we are strong.
Well said.
Okay, I'll call up your jury numbers. 1, I could vote guilty. 2,
Not guilty.
number 3,
Guilty.
number 4,
Guilty.
number 5,
Not guilty.
number 6.
Not guilty.
Oh, he's changing minds.
Guilty.
Number 8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
number 10,
Guilty.
number 11,
Not guilty.
number 12, number 12.
Guilty.
I think they're split.
The vote is now 6-6.
Wow.
We go into extra innings here, huh?
It's a kid like that.
I don't think the kind of boy he is has anything to do with it. The facts are supposed to determine the case.
Don't give me that. I'm sick and tired of facts. You can twist them any way you like. You know what I mean?
I'd like to be a few years younger. That man gets on my...
Oh, come on. You're like everybody else. You think too much, you get mixed up. You know what I mean?
Now, listen, I don't think you have any right to...
He threw the trash at him?
Loudmouth.
Loudmouth.
And you guys ever go to the garden?
That's a damn stupid thing to do.
Pretty excitable person. I mean, where does he come off calling me? A public avenger, sadist and everything? You're just trying to bait me.
He did an excellent job.
You still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Maybe you don't fully understand the term reasonable doubt.
Boy, how do you like this guy? I'm telling you, they're all alike. They come over here running for their life, and before they can take a deep breath, they're telling us how to run the show, huh?
Ignorant ass.
After the boy claimed he'd been at the movies during the hours that the killing took place, couldn't remember the names of the movies or the stars who appeared in them. Putting yourself in the boy's place, do you think you could remember details after an upsetting experience such as being slapped in the face by your father?
I think so.
I'd like to ask you a personal question. Where were you last night?
I was home.
How about the night before that?
I left the office at 8:30 and went straight home and to bed.
And the night before that?
The night of the bridge tournament. I played bridge.
Monday night?
Monday night, my wife and I went to the movies.
What did you see?
The Scarlet Circle. It is a very clever whodunit.
What was the second feature?
The,
God, that rain is loud.
Mrs. Bainbridge, the remarkable Mrs. Bainbridge.
I saw that. It's called The Amazing Mrs. Bainbridge.
And you weren't under an emotional stress, were you?
Now he's sweating. Now he's sweating. But these are minute details, you know? Like, I mean, I don't know. I understand his point, but I got short-term memory. I can't remember last week.
Now, the boy was 5 feet 7 inches tall. His father was 6'2". That's a difference of 7 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone who's more than half a foot taller than you are.
Yeah. You know. Oh, he's gonna love doing this to him.
I'll make myself about 6 or 7 inches shorter, okay?
It's about right, maybe a little more.
Okay, a little more.
That's like a couple feet.
What's it all?
Ooh, but he wanted to. Yeah, he wanted to, though.
How do you use a switchblade?
Well, he never used it like this. See, you lose too much time switching hands.
Go like this, right?
Here's how. Underhanded.
So stab
Anyone
up.
who's ever used the switch knife wouldn't handle it any other way.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I don't think you can determine what type of wound the boy might or might not have made simply because he knew how to handle a knife.
What do you think?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
That's an interesting point.
I changed my vote to not guilty.
What kind of a man are you? You have sat here and voted guilty with everyone else because there are some baseball tickets burning a hole in your pocket. Who tells you that you have the right to play like this with a man's life? If you want to vote not guilty, then do it because you are convinced the man is not guilty, not because you've had enough.
Okay, all those voting not guilty, raise your hands.
Hey,
Got more on the not guilty side.
9.
Whoa. How are they going to get these last guys, though? How are they going to get them?
Look, you know how these people lie? It's born in them. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't need any real big reason to kill someone either. No, sir. They get drunk. Oh, they're real big drinkers, all of them. You know that.
My God.
Well, nobody's blaming them for it. That's the way they are.
Guy is so ignorant.
I mean, violent. Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Oh, sure, there's some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first one to say that. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. This kid is a liar. I know it. I know all about them.
They're turning their back on him.
They're no good. There's not a one of them who's any good.
Your vote shouldn't even be valid.
These people are dangerous. They're wild.
You're a bigot, dude. You're a bigot.
Sit down and don't open your mouth again.
You let your personal feelings about these people overrun the case at hand, the specific case that you're dealing with right now.
It's not so easy to arrange all the evidence in order.
You can throw out all the other evidence. The woman saw him do it. What else do you want?
All right, I'm changing my vote. He's guilty.
Anybody else, the vote is 8-4.
That guy was pressured into doing that.
I think that's a point at which we might begin to discuss the question of whether we're a hung jury or not.
Don't you feel well? But you made a gesture that reminded me of something. Now, why were you rubbing your nose like that?
Well, if it's any of your business, I was rubbing it because it bothers me a little.
Is it because of your eyeglasses?
It is.
Your eyeglasses made those two deep impressions in the sides of your nose. The woman who testified that she saw the killing had those same marks on the sides of her nose.
Holy smokes, you know he's right.
But was she wearing them?
She kept rubbing them in court.
He's right. Now, she did do that a lot.
Heavy makeup, dyed hair, brand new clothes that should have been worn by a younger woman.
Okay, she had marks on her nose. She didn't want to wear them out of the house so people would think she's gorgeous. But when she saw this kid killing his father, she was in the house alone.
Do you wear glasses when you go to bed?
No, I don't.
I'm also guessing that she probably didn't put her glasses on when she turned and looked casually out of the window. And she herself testified the killing took place just as she looked out. The lights went off a split second later. She couldn't have had time to put them on there.
How do you know what kind of glasses she wore? Maybe there were sunglasses. Maybe she was farsighted. What do you know about her?
She had to be able to identify a person 60 feet away at night without glasses.
You can't send someone off to die on evidence like that.
These close-up shots are so intense.
You think he's guilty?
I'm convinced.
Wow.
Not guilty.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. It's my right.
Is he going to give in and just accept it?
What do you want? I say he's guilty.
We're not convinced.
Why don't you take that stuff about the old man? The old man who lived there and heard everything. All this business about the knife. What, 'cause we found another one exactly like it? What's the difference how many seconds it was?
I think this thing is more deep-seated for him because his son, I believe at like 18 or so, had an argument with him, and he hasn't seen him for a few years.
You're not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. Rotten kids, you work your life out.
That's exactly what's going on right now. This is actually pretty sad.
Oh, not guilty. Not guilty.
Yeah. They knew it. They just needed him to say it, you know? At the end of the day, even though with disagreements and all, you can still be civil, still walk out of there like men, and life goes on.
What's your name?
Davis.
My name's McCardle.
He wanted to know his name, not just his number. I like that. I actually really love that ending right there. And they go their separate ways. Wow. That was 1957's 12 Angry Men. All right, Flix Talkers, now I gotta say that I was thoroughly impressed with that film. Now, I know I don't dive deep too much into the older pictures, but I do have a couple on the channel that I absolutely appreciated. And I think when it comes to movies of this time era, at least me being in my mid-30s, guys, I know I have to put myself in the shoes of the filmmakers, of the actors, of the time of things happening in that era. I totally agree, and I feel like in this one, when it comes to more dialogue-heavy pictures like this, I've never been so silent in a reaction, I don't think ever. And that's a good thing because I really wanted to soak up a lot of the dialogue. I thought the performances were fantastic, so I'll get that out of the way because that was my hugest pro for this film. Not to mention the subject nature at hand. I don't think I've seen a movie like this where we're confined to juries coming to a final conclusion altogether in what was almost like a real-time situation. I did appreciate that because it felt like I was there. I was face to face with these gentlemen and their conflictions and questions when it came to different evidence being introduced along the way that wasn't introduced in court and different theories from these men along the way. And I really did enjoy that because once again, born in the 80s, growing up in the 90s of cinema, guys, times definitely have changed where it's very, very rapid pace. And this is a slower paced film. It's a one setting film for the most part. And the impact of this movie comes from the writing, and I think that's what sets this movie apart from most of the movies that I have reacted for on the channel. And once again, that being said, I thought this was a quality picture. I really did enjoy this. I didn't want to make this review too long because if you could tell from most of my silence throughout this reaction, guys, I was soaking a lot of it in and I was thoroughly entertained. And even though he seemed to be the bad guy or the antagonist of this film, a lot of the guys seem to be antagonists of this film for different reasons or other. I think our last angry man of this film, the one that came to the realization that he had said guilty initially for different personal reasons, had to have been my favorite actor. I think his acting, especially in this role, I thought he was amazing. He was fantastic. He definitely sucked me in with his abilities to convey so much emotion. I really give it up to this actor, as well as the actor that was initially introduced to us as not guilty. I thought he also did a fantastic job as well, especially being under the scrutiny and being looked at as pretty much less than. I believe he said his name was Davis at the end there, but I really do think it takes a lot of heart to kind of step up amongst your peers despite having a difference of opinion in and saying, hey, I think this kid is not guilty. Here's the reasons why. And all of that being said, guys, I'm going to give 12 Angry Men from 1957 a solid 5 out of 5, saying I think this is great cinema that you guys should definitely take a chance on, even if you guys aren't used to stuff like this. All right, Flix Talkers, have you seen 12 Angry Men? What do you rank it out of 5? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And what was your favorite moment from this film? Once again, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's get a dialogue started. And if you guys did appreciate my reaction and thoughts on 12 Angry Men, let me know by liking the video and consider subscribing today to join the Flix Talk family as we do movie reactions, series reactions, live streams, and so much more. All right, guys, till next video, I'm gone. Peace.